Day one of free agency was fantastic for the Chargers. It's been exciting so far. Plenty of moves, with some players returning and others joining the fold. It's always fun to see how things shape up on the first day, and it sets the stage for what's to come on day two. Let's break it all down. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. It's been an eventful day, though we didn't see that one big splash move. Instead, it feels like there's a strategy forming here focused on bringing in solid players across the board. It's clear the team still has plenty of cap space to work with. The contracts so far haven't been overly heavy in terms of cap hits, leaving room for potential big-name addition. With 22 free agents on the roster, there are definitely gaps to fill. Who knows, maybe there's a move for someone like T. Higgins down the line? The Bengals are facing some serious financial challenges with big contracts, so it's worth keeping an eye on how things play out with him and even Jamar Chase. Now, shifting focus to the Chargers, day one kicked off with some solid news. Khalil Mack is back on a one-year, $18 million deal. The cap hit is manageable, around $8.8 million, so it's a great way to keep a strong leader on the edge without straining the budget. The big question now is whether they'll bring in another edge rusher. For now, it looks like Tuli Tuipulotu will likely start opposite Mack, but I wouldn't be surprised if they target another edge player in the draft. That's definitely something to watch for as we move forward. Alongside Mack, there's another signing worth mentioning, Teair Tart. This one came later in the day, and it's exciting to have him returning. Tart signed a one-year deal worth up to $5.5 million, likely including performance-based incentives. What stands out about Tart is his nastiness on the field. He's a disruptive force, great at pressuring the quarterback, and a tough guy to block. He really fits the physical, hard-nosed style that this defense is aiming for at the defensive tackle spot. With a deep defensive tackle class in the upcoming draft, there's still potential for another addition to strengthen the defensive line even further. Speaking of defensive linemen, Poona Ford signed a 3-year deal with the Rams, staying in the Los Angeles area. The Rams' defensive line is shaping up to be a serious unit, and Ford's addition makes them even more formidable. Congrats to him, and we'll see him on the other side when the time comes. Back to the Chargers, another internal signing is J.K. Scott. He agreed to a 2-year, $6 million deal, which is great news for the team's punt game. Scott has been solid, consistently delivering impressive hang time and contributing to the team's success in the field position battle. It's good to see stability in this area for the next couple of years. Finally, there's Bradley Bozeman, who signed a multi-year extension. While the figures for his extension haven't been revealed yet, it's another move that provides consistency and strengthens the roster heading into the season. By the time this video is up, the contract details for Bradley Bozeman might already be out. From what we know, it's not at the level of the 3-year, $18 million deal he signed with the Panthers before joining the Chargers. My guess is that it could be something like a 2-year extension, maybe in the ballpark of $7 to $8 million, with a cap hit around $3 million per year. Considering he was on a 1-year, slightly over $1 million deal last season, a modest bump like this makes sense. What's interesting with this signing is the potential positional shift. There's been talk about Zion Johnson taking snaps at center, which could push Bozeman to guard, either left or right, depending on how the team wants to configure the line. This move might also depend on what happens with Trey Pipkins. Bozeman brings leadership to the team, which was evident when he stood up for Justin Herbert last season. You'd love to see that kind of energy from a player, especially one who's a positive locker room presence. Whether Bozeman stays at center or transitions to guard, it's a solid move. He has experience at guard from his time with the Ravens, where he performed well. This signing not only adds versatility, but also provides depth to the offensive line, which is always valuable. Moving on, one of the first outside pickups was cornerback Donte Jackson on a 2-year, $13 million contract. When I first saw this signing, I had some mixed feelings. Jackson didn't have his best year with the Steelers, but part of that might be due to scheme fit. He's not really a man coverage corner, and Pittsburgh leaned heavily on man coverage. Jackson thrives more in a zone-based scheme, so this could be a better fit for him moving forward. Donte Jackson will likely thrive in this system, playing more off coverage. He's a much better fit for Jesse Minter's defense, which doesn't rely heavily on man coverage. With the Steelers in 2022, Jackson was on the field for about 82% of their defensive snaps, proving he's an every-down player. In our system, he'll have the opportunity to showcase his skills as a playmaker, which is one of his strongest attributes. Looking back at his 2024 season, Jackson had 15 starts and recorded a career-high 5 interceptions, tying for 6th in the NFL. Over his 7 seasons in the league, he's tallied 19 interceptions and 54 pass deflections, which speaks volumes about his ability to create turnovers. This move also raises questions about the future of Asante Samuel Jr. It seems likely he won't be returning, as he didn't quite fit the system. If that's the case, Jackson could form a dynamic pairing with Tarheeb Still. Still has been an incredible player, finishing as a runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year with 4 interceptions and a pick 6 in his first year. Together, Jackson and Still could create a formidable cornerback duo. Add to that group someone like Cam Hart, and you've got a really solid core of cornerbacks. The Kansas City Chiefs agreed to a 2-year, $20.5 million contract with cornerback Christian Fulton, so he is not returning to the Chargers. Donte Jackson's physicality is a big plus. He does an excellent job attacking the run and defending the perimeter, which adds another layer to his skill set. He ranked 37th in cornerback run defense in 2024, which is respectable. On top of that, his veteran presence will be valuable for the team. Overall, it's a solid signing, and Jackson brings physicality and versatility that should make a noticeable impact. Now, shifting gears to another addition, Najee Harris joins the Chargers on a 1-year deal worth up to $9.25 million. This move has its pros and cons. Personally, I don't see Harris as the explosive type of back who can break off long runs and consistently kill defenses with his legs. However, what stands out about Harris is his reliability. He started every game he's been eligible for since entering the league, which speaks to his durability and consistency. That reliability seems to be a key factor for the Chargers. After parting ways with Gus Edwards, they clearly wanted a dependable, big-bodied running back, and Harris fits that description perfectly. While it's not a flashy signing, it brings stability to the position. He's a physical, ground-and-pound kind of player, and that aligns with what this team seems to be building around. It's also worth noting that this is just a 1-year contract, which limits the risk. At that price, Harris is likely being brought in as a starter. While he might not be the type of player to deliver highlight reel runs, he can serve as a consistent presence in the backfield. Harris could fit well into the team's run-first scheme, offering a physical edge to the ground game. When comparing Harris to someone like J.K. Dobbins, there are definitely differences in style and skill set, but Harris is the kind of player you know will show up and do his job every single week. That reliability could be crucial as the team looks to establish a strong, physical identity on offense. Looking at Najee Harris and J.K. Dobbins side by side, there's a clear contrast in their styles, but both bring something valuable to the table. If the Chargers manage to pair the two, they could create a strong one. A-1B backfield situation. Both players are capable of causing problems for defenses, albeit in different ways. Harris, as a rusher, had 303 snaps and 263 carries last season, compared to Dobbins' 220 snaps and 195 carries. Dobbins' numbers were impacted by missing 4 games due to a knee injury, but even with fewer games, he wasn't far behind Harris in production. Harris finished with 1,043 rushing yards, 14th in the league, while Dobbins had 995 yards, ranking 21st. Given the missed games, Dobbins could have easily crossed the 1,000-yard mark if healthy. It's worth noting that the Chargers haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Melvin Gordon back in 2018, so getting either player to that milestone would be a big step. In terms of scoring, Harris recorded 6 rushing touchdowns compared to Dobbins' 9. When it comes to efficiency, Dobbins had the edge, ranking 13th in yards per attempt with 4.6, while Harris was 35th at 4.0. Dobbins brings a little more explosiveness to the table, with a greater ability to break off longer runs. Both backs were secure with the ball, recording no fumbles last season, which is always a major plus. One standout stat for Harris is his ability to force missed tackles. He ranked 5th in the league with 63 forced missed tackles, showing his toughness and ability to grind out extra yards. Dobbins, despite playing fewer games, forced 22 missed tackles, which is solid, but not on Harris's level. This ability to create tough yards aligns well with the physical identity the Chargers are trying to establish. When looking at explosive runs, Harris actually compares well. He had 30 runs of 10-plus yards, ranking 8th in the league, while Dobbins had 27, ranking 11th. Harris may not be known for his explosiveness, but he still has the ability to break off impactful runs when given the opportunity. However, Dobbins' style brings a more consistent threat of turning a small gain into a big one. The bottom line is that Harris excels in physicality and grinding out tough yards, while Dobbins offers more explosive potential. If the Chargers can balance those two styles, they could have a dynamic backfield capable of wearing down defenses while still delivering big plays when needed. The running back position remains a fascinating area of focus, especially given the depth of this year's draft class. If J.K. Dobbins doesn't re-sign, the Chargers could look to add another running back through the draft, potentially targeting someone like Omarion Hampton, who has a style similar to Najee Harris, or Ashton Jenney, who could create a dynamic thunder and lightning combo with Harris. That versatility could be a big asset moving forward. Adding Najee Harris to the roster also brings another dimension to the passing game. While Harris had more pass targets than Dobbins, 46 to 36, his ability as a pass catcher might stand out more. Harris caught 36 passes for 283 yards, compared to Dobbins' 32 catches for 153 yards. Those numbers highlight Harris as a more productive option in the passing game. Additionally, Harris forced 14 missed tackles in the receiving game, ranking 11th in the league, which adds to his value. That physicality and playmaking ability are significant for for a team looking to establish a tough identity. However, Harris's 5 drops as a receiver compared to Dobbins' 2 do show an area for improvement. So, guys, what do you think? Yeah, what's your opinion on Chargers signings? Share your thoughts in the comment section.